The following podcast episode is content from our sponsors, with no involvement of Tradewinds journalists.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for tuning into the Ocean Climate Impact series brought to you by the Tradewinds Content Studio. We shine a spotlight on shipping industry experts and what ocean-based climate solutions they offer. I'm your host, Jade Dupree, content producer and presenter for the Tradewinds Content Studio. In our last episode, I was joined by Shankar Raghavan, CEO of MariApps, to discuss the important ways that vessel optimization software can have a positive, sustainable impact. Be sure to check out that episode if you haven't already. But in today's episode, I'm joined by Jessica Doyle, Global Sales Director of Shipping at Jotun, and Petter Korsland, Regulatory Affairs Manager of Performance Coatings at Jotun. Together, we're going to discuss the issues of biosecurity and the responsibilities that sit with the shipping industry. Thank you both for joining me.
Well, thank you for having us, Jade. We're super excited to be here.
Yes, and thanks, Jane, for the kind introduction as well. And as I work with biofouling and the regulatory part, this is going to be a very interesting podcast and to take part in. So looking forward for this conversation.
To kick things off, let's talk about Jotun. I'm sure everyone in the shipping industry has heard of Jotun. It's one of the leading paints and coatings manufacturers, but the company works across a range of different sectors. Can you tell us more about Jotun and the products on offer?
Yes, indeed. Well, at Jotun, we'll actually be 100 years old in 2026, so we've definitely been around a while. We started off in marine coatings, but this has evolved now to include protective, decorative, and powder. We also have a great benefit of being majority family owned. And this is why is this such a benefit? Well, it basically means that we can take a really long-term view on investing in innovation and R&D. Innovation, as everyone knows, takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of commitment. So this is really crucial for our development. And last year, we actually launched our clean shipping commitment, and this is product neutral. This is basically our direction plan for going forward. Everything that we do links to our clean shipping commitment.
And something that Jotun takes incredibly seriously is biosecurity and helping clients avoid biofouling. Can you tell us how Jotun does this?
Yeah, allow me to elaborate on that one, Jay. And as Jessica mentioned, Jotun has been in the business of avoiding biofouling already since the 1926 when it started up. And we have a great belief that in order for our customers and the maritime industry as a whole, there is a need to collaborate and have partnerships to be able to avoid biofouling. And Jotun is committed by through this in order to work with a different active role in different parts of the maritime industry. We are helping and developing and being in the lead when we are taking part in Global Industry Alliance, for example, which is an industry partnership initiated by IMO, where they have published several publications that is giving the information about what is the uh, effect of biofouling, what is the challenges by biofouling, and how to avoid it as well. And Jotun, we have been in the business since 1926, and we have always been in the forefront of developing new products and new innovations. And now, in the latest years, we also see that we are collaborating across the industry in order to help the whole industry in avoiding biofouling. So we have, for example, also taken part as a mission ambassador in the Maersk McKinley Møller Center for Zero Carbon Shipping, a long name, but a very influential and a good place to take part. And also we are a partner in Sustainable Shipping Initiative. So it means that Jotun, we really do not only go with the products as such, we also are working to be a leader in the whole performance as well. And whole performance means avoiding biofouling. So, and latest one, we are also working with an ISO standard for how can vessel safely clean biofouling off their hulls. So we are, as I said, not only products, which is of course the core of Jotun's business, is all the different products we have to avoid biofouling, but we are also working across the industry to help the whole of industry to avoid biofouling.
And also one of the things that the Petter mentioned was the collaborations that we're working with and the different initiatives, and this is crucial actually to get this topic raised higher up on the agenda. We alone can't do this, but with many voices united, we can get this topic get much more attention.
And I just shortly also mention one of the strategies Jotun has, and one of the initiatives we have is called the Clean Shipping Commitment, where we are focusing whatever we do when it comes to our products and innovations and data, digital, and all the innovations we do to help to have a clean ship and clean hull. And this is really kind of where we are standing at the moment, where we are looking at what can be the benefit of a clean hull. We see that you can cut carbon emissions by having a clean hull, you're protecting biodiversity with a clean hull, and you're also preserving the fuel with a clean hull. So it's a kind of a low hanging fruit in today's quite a jungle of different ways of cutting emissions and improving vessels efficiency.
A lot of companies have had to take a serious look at the impact they're having on the environment, especially with changing regulations, which we will go on to speak about. So, why is it so important that they take biosecurity into consideration too, when there are so many different ways of improving a company's sustainability?
Yeah, I can elaborate more about this one because biosecurity is really about avoiding the vessels to accumulate biofouling on the hulls. And there are several effects of biofouling. Once it is having an impact on the risk of spreading invasive species around the globe. We know that there has been quite a number of um, s- times when vessels have been bringing the invasive species around the globe on the hull and leave it on other places. So it is important to avoid these and minimize the risk of spreading invasive species. And of course, biofouling has an impact on the hull's performance with the increased drag it will have. And with increased drag, it also means that there is a higher risk of more emissions to the air. So these are two very important parts.
Absolutely. And we've got to remember that shipping is responsible for around 70% of invasive aquatic species invasions. And the IMO obviously originally focused on ballast water treatment initially, but we can't ignore the fact that the outer hull plays a crucial part in this also.
Although a lot of people will believe that it is the responsibility of those in shipping to maximize sustainability efforts, there will still be some on the fence. What do you say to those that actively biofoul and don't take measures to reduce their carbon footprint?
Well, that's a tough one. I don't think anyone is deliberately causing damage or actively biofouling. Ship operators, don't forget, they've got to navigate numerous issues on a daily basis, rerouting around the Cape, pandemics. On top of that, you've got regulations that emerge, whilst also having to keep an eye on what could be happening in the future in terms of new fuels, green corridors, other regions bringing in similar systems to EU ETS. So until an issue is regulated and has penalties attached to it, it will always fall down the priority list, understandably so. You've got some countries ahead of the curve on addressing biofouling. Australia, New Zealand, for example, they're the forerunners, where vessels are actually being refused. More ports, we believe, will start to follow this, as ports will also have their own ESG targets to meet.
And how will changing international regulations from the IMO impact companies that biofoul?
Well, I have to say that IMO has high ambitions for reducing the emissions to air with its goals for the 2050. But they are not only focused on the emissions to air, they also have lately had a really good focus on the what's happening on the underwater hull in terms of biofouling. So they have recently uh, revised their 2011 biofouling management guidelines to be updated to be a biofouling guideline for 2023, which was adopted by MEPC 80 last year. And now it is a guideline, but it is very much about how can vessels and owners, operators reduce the accumulation of biofouling on the vessels. And mainly that goes that there will be more frequent inspections. And with this, it also enables owners to actually take earlier actions on the fact of biofouling when you have more control of what is actually on your underwater hull. And also in the guideline, there's a focus on that vessels should have a biofouling management plan, meaning that they should have a plan for how to manage their biofouling, whether what type of strategy they might have for keeping the vessel foul free, and what is the actions to take when they are having to do any type of measures on the hull in terms of cleaning, whether that's proactive cleaning of microfouling, if they have a really proactive strategy, or if they have a more uh, reactive strategy where they act upon a problem. It is all described in the biofouling management plan. And when you do something on the hull, the guideline also focus that you should have a biofouling record book so anyone can see and have a look at what has been done on your vessel. And these two these two elements here, biofouling management plan and biofouling record book, is already, as Jess said, New Zealand, Australia are in the forefront of them of this, and they are already asking owners to have these plans and record book on hand. So, although it's still a guideline, it is a clear ambition that this is something that should be implemented or at least be used more in the maritime world. And we also believe that if more are using and harmonizing their regulations and following the IMO biofouling management guideline, it will also be easier for owners to have a strategy which they can know that they can follow this strategy wherever they are sailing in the world. So they do not have to comply with different rules in different ports or countries around the globe. They can know that if I have a proactive approach to my hull management, I can actually do proactive hull cleaning even if I go to another places than I don't regularly go to. So it is a bit of a emphasizing that there is a need to harmonize these rules, because otherwise it will be a very difficult for our customers to have a very good strategy for their biofouling management.
It feels like there are new regulations and guidelines appearing all the time. How is Jotun innovating to stay ahead of the curve and help clients tackle these regulations efficiently?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, we spend a lot of time and money investing in R&D and innovation. So we don't just deal with just paint products anymore. We're also looking at digital solutions. We even deal with robotics now. So we spent a lot of time looking at the problems which are going to affect our customer and what we can do to deliver solutions to help meet those guidelines.
Yes, and we do really see that a lot of these new management guidelines and regulations are giving the focus for our own or our customers, that they do see that there is beneficial for them as well to have more focus on biofouling as such. So it all comes back to what we mentioned earlier about the clean hull, which we truly believe it is a low-hanging fruit, and we believe that there are a lot of new innovations coming in for technical solutions on board vessels, which has technical, and they are quite virgin in the way they are. They are new. They haven't been tested really out. We do know that the clean hull isn't really something that really works. So this is something that we really believe that has uh, pushed forward by regulations and the guidelines as well.
And of course, although we are seeing costly regulations come into play, there is another positive in that a cleaner hull is a more efficient hull. I'm sure companies in this day and age will jump on the chance to drive fuel usage down and save money. How exactly does a clean hull lower carbon emissions and decrease fuel usage?
Well, I feel we've said clean hull a lot now, but it does all start and end with a clean hull. Lowering fuel consumption lowers carbon emissions. It's that simple. Of course, there's new green fuels on the horizon, but these aren't going to be readily available for quite some time now. And we must also remember that these new fuels will be extremely costly and less calorific than heavy fuel oil, so you'll need more volume also. So even more reason, keep your hull clean.
Yeah. And just to add to that, with the new fuels as well, they are also, that takes a lot of energy to produce these new fuels. And it's one thing that we do not have a surplus of in the world is energy. So if vessels can spend less fuel, whatever type of fuel it is, to have moved it hull through the water, it is better for the whole ecosystem. And in addition, I think also it's good to have a little bit focus on the biosecurity as well, because this is really something that will affect our owners and the operation to freedom to operate as well. Just as Jess mentioned earlier today, that there are vessels who has been not allowed to enter New Zealand, Australian waters because they have fouling on their hulls. So operational flexibility is also taking into place and is an important part there as well.
And to wrap things up, how can listeners learn more about Jotun's products and continue the conversation with you both?
Well, we've got an extensive global network, so please just reach out to your local office or please visit our website.
Yes, we are available. I guess we're both on LinkedIn and other places as well, and we are attending various conferences and exhibitions, and we are quite easy to find as well. So please just reach out.
Thank you both for your time today. Your insight was incredibly valuable.
Thank you so much, Jade. It's been a pleasure to take part in this podcast and also bring the importance of biosecurity and a clean hull, as we've said so many times today, to the importance of it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us, and hope to be back again soon.
Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you don't miss a single episode. We're available on all major podcast platforms as well as tradewindsnews.com in the sponsored content section of the website. This part of the site is not behind a paywall, so you can access the show whenever you wish. And finally, if you're interested in working with the Tradewinds Content Studio for your marketing needs, please get in touch at advertising@tradewindsnews.com. We offer a range of marketing products from copywriting, audio, video, studio interviews at major calendar events, and so much more.